Alright, welcome back. So, first thing I want to do is lubricate these rails. Now, when I did the other rails, I had the luxury of having the rails off of the axis. Obviously, they're on the frame now, and I don't want to take them apart because I've spent so much time getting everything parallel in a previous video or two. So I'm going to try to cheat and just do them right here in place. Very carefully spread the lubricant on the rail and then call it good. Figure while they're on the machine anyway, I'm not going to be taking apart everything. Just to apply a little lubricant. So put the camera up here a little. So what I'm going to do is I got my lubricant here. I'll put the straw on it. I'll use a backdrop of a paper towel here and just kind of really lightly hit the button. There we go. And just the right amount of pressure. Just let the paper towel get nice and soaked in the lubricant. This is mostly just putting something on the rails. Make sure they don't get rusty or anything. Not that I expect them to. I haven't had any kind of issue like that on my other machines. But I also coat them with some sort of light lithium grease or something. Well, this is what Alex recommends, so silicone lubricant it is. Probably should be using a microfiber cloth for this. There's a few hairs coming off of this. I'll sacrifice my one I use for cleaning my glasses. And I'll get it. There we go, nice and shiny. So I don't plan on putting the Core XY back together until I get the new aluminum crossbar. Oh, wait, let me put this down a little first. Anyway, I'll have them so that they're supposed to be being made starting Monday. I ordered mine pretty early. I doubt too many people place their orders right off the bat, but I could be wrong. But then I'll have mine in the mail next week. Might not get it till the week after, but if that's what happens, then so be it. With any luck, my panels are in the mail as well, or will be soon. I just hope I can get everything in time in order to get this done for Rep Festival. It's part of the reason I've been wasting so much time playing with rails and bearings and adding connectors. Things I wanted to do anyway, but didn't have the time. So we'll set this aside for now. So one thing I learned, and I probably should have learned this sooner, is that the red caps on the rails should be tightened after they are on the rails. So we'll try that really quick. So this is the one that's still really stiff. That one works. So one good one, two stiff ones. So let's see what happens when I loosen up this end cap and retighten it down while it's on the rail. Now, I don't know how true it is for this, because the end caps they have some stuff that's like pegs that kind of nest somewhere. So I'm skeptical that this is going to do me any good. The video I was watching, I don't believe it had any kind of pockets and pegs for these things to wind themselves up with, but ooh, well, maybe it's true after all. Look at that. That is a significant improvement. I really thought, because these things had I'll show you when I go to put together the other one. What is with this screw? I just had you off. Screws are kind of a funny shape. It's really flat and shallow. Let's see if I can find another Phillips here. I think it was almost better before I tried to redo that one. So they still don't just fall down the rail, but it's pretty good. Like this is really stiff. Another thing that was mentioned in the video I was watching is that sometimes there is some extra material on these things right over where the balls are sliding into the in and out of the races. Not really seeing that. There's an issue here, I don't think. This is definitely So on one of these blocks, I ended up taking my Dremel and very carefully taking the edge off, leading into these
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, not too bad. I just cannot get this particular bearing to go smoothly. I don't know what it is. That's the one that I ended up taking apart and putting the little tiny chamfers in there.
But now it's not going together?
I can put it back together and put it back on the rail, and it's a little better than it used to be, but it's still, every time I put it together, it's not really any better than the time before. I bought another bearing.
Another block?
Yeah. Doesn't have green ends, but it has black ends instead.
I don't think that makes a difference.
Yeah, it'll look odd, but whatever, I guess, right? Maybe if it works nicely, I'll put this one on where the carriage attaches, and then it won't be uneven. But yeah, I cleaned the other bearings last night, so. Ooh. Oh. I was like, ooh, this line's really nice on the plastic. And then I realized it's because the balls aren't moving.
Flip it on the rail and see what you get.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Wow. This thing is super duper loose on this.
Does it wobble or does it just slide real nice?
No, it's like not even making contact with it.
Really? MGN 12?
Yeah, it's. I don't know if you can see the video or not, but.
Wow. It's, yeah, that's definitely not. That's not right.
Nope.
That's the right size carriage?
Yeah, the block is the same. I just bought it off of Amazon, so.
Okay.
I think it was a bad purchase. Suppose I could take it apart and see what these balls measure. Maybe they're just
Undersized?
not the right size.
Yeah, that might be a thing. You have to keep them separate. Oh, you got another tray. There you go.
I'm getting a little bored of taking apart bearings, though.
Yeah, once you get them right, though, then you don't have to mess with them again.
Well, there goes some balls.
They all stay in the tray?
No, somehow I managed to drop a couple. But if I replace them, then I guess it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, that's true. But you do need to know what the counts are.
Not really. I just put them in there until no more balls fit. What's
you just
that?
keep stuff until they don't fit anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually pretty clear where you can or can't fit any more balls, so.
Yeah, I think it's 66 per. I think it's 66. for a long block?
Only 2 of the blocks are long, and those are for the y-axis.
Okay. Is that a long block or a short block? I can't tell.
It's a short block.
Oh, okay.
I picked up the ball and then I dropped it again. That's nice.
Ah.
Just trying to find my calipers. My desk has kind of gone nuclear.
Your desk is buried now.
Yeah. I need to do some cleaning. Reorganizing.
Yeah.
So how are you tonight?
Got a cold. Was traveling all week last week. And the person I was traveling with started getting sick on Thursday. And by Friday was running a fever and chills. And then we flew back on the plane, and he's been sick all weekend, and I'm just fucking beaten by well, chills and headache. I mean, I'm under a blanket on a heated chair. It's 70 degrees in here, and I'm still cold.
Gotcha.
So, hot cup of tea.
When I came back from Belgium, I got pretty sick.
Yeah.
There they are. Yeah, I was in rough shape.
Oh, I figure it'll be. I mean, the way it's running is basically you feel miserable, and then probably a day or so later you're fine.
Yeah, it didn't happen with the Belgium trip, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've already called out for tomorrow. I'm just gonna once I get back to sleep, I'm just gonna stay there, and I'll get up in the morning long enough to double check, make sure I've got my coverage set, and then I'll go back to bed. Mostly just if I can get through a day where I can sleep, that'll help.
Indeed.
I have chicken soup, so I'm good. My kid made jambalaya and chicken soup, chicken vegetable soup. So I've got at least 3 servings in the freezer.
Nice.
So you know, scratch scratch cooking, I'm okay with. I'm checking the block size.
Yeah, it seems to be oversized by about a half a millimeter.
Really, which means you're gonna have to go with bigger balls. Are the balls that came out of it the same size as the ones you've got?
Pretty much. So
the rate is oversized.
yeah, this bearing is not right.
Okay, we can put it back together again, box it up, and ship it back.
Basically.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
It does have a nicer retainer. That's about all I can say for it. I don't know. I don't know what it's intended for, but it's definitely not going to make anybody who has an MGN12 rail happy.
Yeah, I mean, as long as if the rail. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. missing a couple balls, and since they're all the same size, I'll just drop these in here.
We've got a few to work with.
They move really nicely in the races.
Yeah.
I don't
But they're
know.
oversized.
What's that?
But it's oversized.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're intended for some other type of rail, but they were the same exact call out as these rails. So
Different manufacturer, different tolerances. There's a reason high wind rails cost so much.
yeah, but this is extraordinarily terrible. I don't think I really needed to take apart the big ones. I don't. They seemed they were oiled and everything. Somebody else put them together for sure.
Okay. Different manufacturers.
They were all from the same company, but I guess it's possible that they were just basically one's the long block and one's the short block. Was the only difference between the two.
No, different line then. Different production.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd the little black retainer go that I just had? Yeah, it doesn't even fit on the black retainer well that it came with.
Oh,
Like
wow.
It's super loose on that, but I'm like, oh, maybe that's just because it's the retainer.
Didn't you just have it?
Yeah, it's right here. I knocked it on the floor, I guess. Yeah, the retainer chucks around just as much as the rail does.
Ah, there you go.
Just for curiosity's sake. Retainer.
Didn't you just have the caliper in your hand?
Huh?
I said,
Yeah.
didn't you just have the caliper in your hand?
Yeah, I just grabbed it. So the rail seems to measure
12 millimeters?
Yep. Just like you would expect.
Yeah.
The retainer is undersized by a little bit. It's 11.73.
Okay.
But you have no idea.
Yeah, the block is just oversized. The races in the block are oversized.
Yeah, MGN 12. Whatever. Alright. So I did buy another long block just to keep as a spare, not that I thought I needed it.
Check it out.
Yeah, I wonder if I can just put the long block on the y-axis or if it will eat up some of the travel.
I'm not sure if the holes are in the same place.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're not.
Ugh.
I thought they might have the same mounting pattern.
I mean, it's in the sense that it's a rectilinear pattern, yes. The dimensions, not so much.
Well, any four holes are going to be a rectilinear pattern for the most part. If you want to make a parallelogram on your bearing.
That's what I was getting at.
No, I just thought since they're both MGN 12 and one's long and one's short, they might have the same mounting pattern, just, longer.
Block size makes all the difference.
Alright, so what in the heck is wrong with this block? kind of coming up blank here.
The short block?
Yeah.
Or the one that you chipped?
No, the short block.
So the races are clean and parallel?
Well, I mean, I cleaned them all.
Well, just do some quick spot checks. Measure each end and make sure they're the same distance.
Oh, I'm actually have my calipers in my hand and I'm measuring it right now.
There you go.
Yeah, I cleaned all the blocks. Well, so all I wanted to do is put everything back together again, but
Okay. You said that you got a bunch of metal filings and things out of some of them. Okay.
I mean, there is a slight.
A slight taper on them?
No, I was gonna say a slight ridge in the middle of the block, but I mean, it's really small.
If you throw some bearings in there and run them back and forth, can you feel it catch? And that ridge is probably from where it's drilled in from each end, right?
Yeah.
Any way you could lap that out of there or polish it out of there?
I kind of tried messing with it on one of them, but these blocks are really hard.
Well, yeah, they're hardened tool steel.
Right. Meaning, I couldn't really, like, I ended up having to take a Dremel just to get that tiny little bit of chamfer on the edge. I couldn't even get it with a file.
Yeah, it's harder than the files are.
So, I don't know what I could possibly do to get to the middle of the block to take away that tiny little edge. I don't think
Carbide mill. But there you go.
I'd spend more on the carbide mill than I would to spend buy 2 more bearings.
You're not wrong. Yeah, so those are not machined with a mill. Those are machined with a drill. And they're heat treated. So I would, load up some new bearings and see if you can get them to roll.
Yeah, I mean, they were circulating, but
You were feeling them as they came around, didn't they?
Say that again?
Was it catching in just one spot, or was it catching at each bearing?
It was.
At each ball, I mean.
I mean, it seemed like it was circulating fine. Seemed like the catch was after I put them on the rail.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see the ball still circulating in there.
Oh, okay. So when it's on the rail.
Yeah, when it's on the rail, it's just really stiff. It doesn't want to go through.
So what you're saying is that there's some preload?
That's what it seems like.
Well, I mean, are you getting it? It's stiff, but is it smooth?
I suppose so.
So remember, a little bit of stiffness on a bearing, and some little bit of preload, is not a bad thing. Because what's going to happen is it's going to take up any backlash and keep it from twisting and rotating. You're adding some constraints at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's loose and it slides super freely, but it has some yaw, the rotational axes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that rail, that bearing on that rail should have five constraints. And as long as it's able to move smoothly along the one translational axis that's allowed, that's good. If it's prevented from rotating through any of the other rotations or translating in the other direction or the other two directions, then you're in good shape. And for small movements, a translation can be indicated as a rotation or vice versa. So as long as once it's on the rail, if you can't twist it in any of the axes, and you can't pick it up, push it down, or move it side to side, but it moves along the axis smoothly but stiffly, you can get away with that because your motors are going to have plenty of torque to move them around, right?
Yeah.
The amount of force the motor can put on it. The other thing is it's also going to wear in to a certain extent. You get it up there and you throw a few thousand cycles on it, and you're going to be able to see some improvement or it's going to start to seize up. But if you're saying that the bearings are recirculating and you get an appropriate amount of lubrication in there, it'll be fine. That's one of the things that we were talking about with Josh earlier is, what level of precision and load do we want on these? How much slop, how much constraint do we want to tolerate? If you have some wiggle, it's more forgiving, right? But that's the whole purpose of a linear bearing. Usually, that's the whole purpose of a linear rail like that.
Yeah, it's just a lot stiffer than every other bearing I have, is all.
Can you put it on the x-axis, or is it the wrong block size?
No, I can go on the x-axis.
All right, so you got the x-axis with the carriage, and it's got a little less. If the other two are closer in operation, and this one is different significantly, then put that one in the single area that it's going to be separate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want the Z's to be as close to each other as they can, and then you want the Y's to be as close to each other as they can, and the X can be by itself. I will probably get my duet tomorrow or Tuesday.
Nice.
I just got notice that it's in New York now.
Yeah, I hope Imp gets the acrylic out soon, then I can start on the electronic panel.
Yeah. Still kind of want to outline all in rails, but yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I still kind of want to mount my electronics. I'm sorry, I'm fading.
On rails, right.
Mount them on DIN rails. Because, you got some benefits with that. The other thing is like, grounding your gear, grounding all the equipment, right? So you get a ground strap on the bed because it's isolated, right? Then you get a ground strap on the carriage, right? And then you get you only need really a ground on the carriage and a ground on the bed. And then you get a ground on the frame, and that should, I think, pick everything up, right? Is there any other isolated gear, isolated equipment? Unless you put a ground on each of the Z's. I think the Z's are isolated as well, right? No, the rails are tied to the frame, so you should be good there.
Well, the motors themselves are mounted to plastic, though.
Yeah, but the motors, well, the motors don't have their own ground, do they?
No. No, they just have the...
No, they're electrically connected to the rails. Right?
Well, I
Nope.
mean, they
Nope.
go to the duet, and then whatever, the duet, of course, will be grounded or whatever, so...
Yeah, but the rails, the motors are using a differential signal. They don't have a ground on them. So just I think I'm trying to figure what isolated components we have on the Jubilee. I'll pop over there and see if anybody else is on.
Well, aside from the differential signal, I don't think there's any electrical connection to that the Z motors have.
Yeah, Ray's around. Ray would probably know how this stuff works. It'd be fun if other people joined in.
Yeah, I always like it when we get a few people in. I'm not sure why it's so hard to get people to join the chat.
I don't know. Come on,
Oh,
rejoin.
crap.
That's not a good sign.
The little metal retainer caught my thumb in just the right way that launched it across the room.
Oh my gosh. I have to put you in a glove box to work on this stuff.
I found it, but I can't pick it up.
Magnets?
Yeah. I was just about ready to go grab one when I finally got a hold of it here.
Magnets. How do they even work?
Magnetism.
TFM, man. TFM. It's 11 o'clock.
That was fast.
What did I do with my... No, I left it over there, maybe. Is that somebody on chat?
I don't know. My phone just beeped at me.
Let's figure out what I did with my pillbox. I think I left it on my desk. I left it on the desk. So I printed a bullseye, pet bang bullseye duct. I must have my settings just right because when I pulled the support material off, the bottom looks beautiful, and the supports came off in one piece.
Nice.
No, guys, these are multivitamins, not treats.
Multi-treats?
I opened the multivitamin box, and they both popped up and started looking at me.
Multi-pass.
Yeah, multi-treats. I ran out of my other multivitamins. The actual like pills for adults.
Gotcha.
So I had to fall back on the bottles of multivitamin gummies that I've got, and they're actually tasty, which is terrible because it'd be easy to just like, oh, there's a bowl of jelly beans or gumdrop kind of things. It's like great, yeah, no, these are not gumdrops, but it does work when you're trying to get the kids to get their multivitamins, right? It's like if they're not going to if you don't eat the spinach, you got to eat these. That's a thing.
No, definitely, even off the rail seems harder to get the bearings to recirculate
Yeah.
than the other two.
Hmm. Just a dab of super lube.
Yeah, I realized that this one that's like really moving freely isn't very well lubricated because I was being really light with the super lube after watching the first video.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah. Getting a good smear in there and then running it up and down a few times and then wiping off the excess will do a good job.
Yeah, I was just getting a little more in here.
Yeah, the one thing about those is you've got some free space in them, so they can, if any excess lubricant will ooze out and onto the rail, and then you can wipe it down. Okay, it moves smoothly, or moves when you're moving it quickly. But how does it move when you're moving it slowly?
I was just trying to work the lubricant around.
If it's able to do that, is it hanging or is it dropping?
No, these don't really drop.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't have that much weight.
That's good.
So yeah,
If you're holding it,
when I put the lube in there, it's definitely a lot harder to move. I think maybe the reason this one is so much harder is because I lubed it too much,
okay,
or just
wipe the
more than
paper
the
towel.
other ones.
Yeah,
It just bugged me that it was so different.
yeah. And one of the things is can you rotate the block around the Z, and does it rock side to side along the
No, the
you know?
blocks are pretty solid on the rails.
Okay, so they're constrained in the rotation, and you can't lift the block off up and down off the rail. There's no vertical movement, right? It's fairly well constrained in that direction,
Yeah,
and it's constrained in the cross rail direction. So if it's constrained in five axes, then you're in good shape.
why are you giving me such a tough time getting back on the rail?
Because you wanted to. It's like a teenager. Went and saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie today. It was a lot of fun. Jim Carrey did a really good job as Dr. Robotnik. Way over the top, which is, right in
sounds just... Oh, wow.
Sounds the same.
Huh.
What's wrong?
This one is kind of moving under gravity, almost.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, this is the one, this is the second, like, so I had both of them off. I just put a little bit more super lube in this one.
Okay.
If I give it a tap, it definitely travels a little ways.
Okay.
It's still going. Very slowly. But yeah, they feel very solid on the rail. Like I can't really get any movement out of it.
The rotation on it.
Oh, I did watch.
Did you see that presentation that I sent you? The PDF from Utah, University of Utah.
I did not yet.
Okay, it's in the chat. It's a reference for constraints on linear bearings.
Yeah, I'm up to just under 83 hours for last week.
Tightening things up.
Actually, I was loosening it up and retightening it down. So I watched this little video, and one thing I didn't really realize is that this wiper can have a huge effect on how freely these things move.
Oh yeah. The wiper it should have very even contact with the rail.
Yeah, you need a... Oh, come on. There we go.
It has a little variance side to side.
Yeah, so... But yeah, that was one of the things I think I had a problem with. Now, they have little pegs in them to try to force them to be in the right spot.
Yeah, but it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And even those pegs have got a little bit of Is that better?
Not really. I'll try the other side and see if I can change anything.
Remember, the point of this rail is to constrain movement, not to be for completely free rolling.
Right, I understand. I'm just trying to get them be a little more consistent amongst themselves.
Yeah, I mean, really what you're looking for is consistency. It's like when I was working on the CR10s, it's like everything was loose. And I get the rails, I get the verticals, I get both of the carriages snug, so I'm getting consistent rolling on both carriages, and then I attach the crossbar.
Yeah, I also just don't really feel like playing with these anymore.
All right.
But at the same time, it bugs me when their stiffness and how their motion is so completely different from each other.
You're just working in the grease now.
Yeah, a little bit. All right. I mean, I do feel a little bit more like it's not just stiffer, but it's also, I can feel the balls recirculating a little bit in the bearing, like they're rolling over something that is just a little bumpy. But for the life of me,
You can feel them catching?
a little tiny bit. Not like, I don't know. It's not as bad as it used to be, for sure. I definitely made some improvements, but I was hoping for perfectly smooth.
Well, you might not get that on. You might not get that on this quality of rail.
And the other ones
the rails may not be straight or machined smooth. I mean, we certainly aren't in a position to polish them. Oh, new bearings, another bag.
Yeah, I gotta fill all these bearings here, or blocks. So.
Does the super lube get thinner when it warms up?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what its temperature dependent properties are.
Temperature range is 40 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, but
yeah, that doesn't mean it doesn't get thinner.
Right, I know.
I mean, if it doesn't warm up in just your fingertips, then
It says viscosity stable, thermally stable.
All right, then it probably doesn't change until you get outside of those ranges. So that's useful knowledge.
Putting a little bit into the block. Not like packing it, just getting some in there.
No, a little bit in there means the balls will probably stick in there too as you put them in.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the things we've seen, or we've been able to determine from this, is that most of the blocks are drilled from each end. rather than machine through in a single pass, right?
True. Yeah. Holds true for the long blocks as well.
Yeah. The blocks are unlikely to be an extrusion, so the races are probably machined in with the blocks being of some billet size, right? And then they're cut to length.
Yeah.
So I think that operation is probably done in a billet length.
Yeah, I was thinking they probably just do like a really long stretch of rail and then cut it into.
Oh well, rails are cut to length. Yeah, that's a given. But
I meant the blocks. Like,
oh,
it looks like you could just make a 4-foot long one or something like that, and then just cut the blocks out of it and drill them.
Yeah, run the cutter or run a mill down the. Run a mill, make a mill pass down the center, and then. But it looks like you said the bearing race sections are drilled out. I know the recirculating ports are drilled, but the race themselves is also look like it drilled.
I guess I just kind of assumed that. I don't know how they're done, to be honest.
Well, if there's a ridge in the middle of the race section.
No, there's not there, but I'm assuming that's.
Oh, okay, so that's probably just mill. That's probably a machine. And they're certainly not polished. They're not. They don't have a super smooth surface on them. So.
The only downside is there's no quality between Chinese quality and and then going to Highwind. As far as I know, it's basically you either get cheap or you get expensive.
Yeah. I think the Masumi rails might be in the middle if we can find the right. Finding the right part number for Masumi rail is pretty hard, but I should poke around on the Masumi side a little bit more. Because you can get custom rail lengths. The other one might be a matter of ordering a set of rails from Ziltech and seeing what kind of quality you get from there. Because they have an upcut saw and they cut the rails themselves.
Gotcha.
The thing I want is when I'm ordering a set of rails is I want the mounting holes in the rail to be equal on each end. I don't want a rail that's longer. Because the mounting holes are 25 millimeters apart, right? Or 50, 25 or 50? I think they're 25.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Alright, I literally just had the stupid bearing returner. Where did you go?
To lose the returner?
Well, I don't know how I would go so far as to say lost. It's got to be right here because, oh, man. So the balls, when they're all next to each other, kind of make lines, and it was hidden in those lines so perfectly it was almost invisible.
Ah.
It was actually right where I had seen it last. It just had shifted just ever so slightly that it was no longer apparent.
It vanished.
Oh, come on. Stay put.
I'm trying to get the retainer back in.
Yeah, the retainers on this bearing seem to be a little reluctant to stay put. Like they're not quite bent the same. Well, that might be my imagination, I don't know. Yeah, there is a channel inside these green pieces and there's a hole right here, kind of like he was saying, where it looks like you could squirt lube into.
Yep.
And in the red
Go ahead.
I was going to say, and in the red piece, there's a hole, or there's a place where there could be a hole if you wanted to drill it.
Yeah, there's on the larger size blocks. If you get into a bigger block,
you can get Zerk fittings.
There's a Zerk fitting on that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have them at work that have the actual fittings there.
Well, you're working on bigger machines too.
Yeah.
Got a new glass bed for CR10. Delivered tonight. Let me rephrase that. It got delivered to the house next door again.
How much money are you putting in this machine that you're...
It's probably about $100 extra.
Well, you put a Hemera on there too, didn't you?
No. This is for this isn't for my. This is for my other friend. The CR10S, not the CR10S5.
Oh. What's the difference between the two?
The S5 has got a 500 by 500 bed. The S has got a 310 by 300 by 300. There's a CR10S, a CR10S4, CR10S5. So the 4, it's a 300 by 300, 400 by 400. The S5 is going to get a Hemera with a Vulcan on it and or Volcano on it and a flex steel bed from Tiny Machines. But he's also going to be making big stuff on it, and he's going to pay me $1,200 for it. I mean, if he went out and bought all the parts himself, he'd be paying a bit more. But I've had it for over a year now. I've been using it, so I also have, I've bought parts for it that I haven't added to it. So I figured I'd just finish the conversion for him and then let him have it, and the cash he gives me I'll use to put towards a large scale Jubilee that'll have a bigger bed size, or a Jubilee inspired. Maybe I'll call it the Jubilee.
Call it the what?
The Bigalee.
The Bigalee.
It's been biggened. Okay, so how does it... Oh, you got 2 rails or 2 blocks on that.
What's that?
You got 2 blocks on there.
Yeah, because the other one is mounted to the carbon fiber still.
Ah. You're waiting on your aluminum rail? Aluminum crossbar?
Yeah.
So when you saw the aluminum crossbar and stuff, the X, the printed part for the X stop.
I haven't actually looked at that, to be honest.
Yeah, so there's a printed part that gets mounted on the crossbar, and that provides the the stopping point for the X stop. Kind of curious as to what kind of, how hard would it be to put in to convert to an optical end stops? Probably not that hard.
I really just do that. Damn it.
What did you just do?
I move the rail just far enough out to lose balls.
Oh, man. Oh, now I see it. Just a little bit of lag. Hey, Decker, did you just wake up? He just woke up. He startled himself awake, and now he's like, I'm going to curl up again and go back to sleep. You should reach up and grab Levi's too.
Yeah, this retainer on this bearing does not seem to be quite as good as the retainers on the other ones. Actually bowing out ever so slightly instead of bowing in. What's that?
That's probably causing some friction. You didn't mix up the retainers, did you? Between blocks? Okay.
No, I marked the other ones for the long blocks.
Okay.
I even marked the blocks so I could get the same retainer in the same location.
There you go. If Steve shows up, we have to give him a hard time about it.
We have to give Steve a hard time about what?
About his D&D game. Nope, he's not around.
He's probably playing D&D.
That could be true.
Yeah, what is with these retainers and bowing out?
Are they not seated right?
Well, remember how I told you that they didn't seem quite right when I was putting the red blocks on?
Yeah.
Yeah, the other ones kind of grab a hold of the green blocks, and these ones wanted to kind of not want to be attached to them. It's like they're not quite 90 degree, or it's almost like the corners are ever so slightly more than 90 degrees on the other retainers.
Yeah.
But these ones didn't get quite bent as far.
Ah, that could do it.
Get out of there. Yeah. It's probably not going to show up on camera. But you can see how they're bent out.
Yeah, it doesn't quite come into focus. Oh, yeah. It's got some flex to it.
Well, yeah, it has flex to it, but this is... The other ones, like I said, are bent the other way ever so slightly.
Inward, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
It actually creates a thing where it bows towards the balls ever a little bit instead of out from the balls. But this was bending out from the balls instead of towards them.
Got it. Hi, welcome to the chat.
Who just popped in?
We have someone new.
Oh, yeah, I think I was... They're looking to build a cheaper printer than the Jubilee, if I remember correctly.
Welcome, welcome. Don't mind us. We babble about just about anything.
Oh, I got messages from the person who's in the voice chat. How about that?
You've got mail. Reminds me I should plug in my iPad.
Ah, Farmington. That is close
Farmington.
to Livonia. I had asked, I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
No, I meant CK. They shared some information with me.
Okay.
Not that it was, you could really find out much from me.
I didn't hear anything. I have no idea what you're talking about. La 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 la.
Yeah, it's one thing for me to share my city. less different story when I share somebody else's city.
Nope. By all means. Freely admit I'm in Virginia. Good old US of A.
Yeah, Michigan here.
You are where it is cold.
Not as bad as where I went to school in Upper Michigan, but it does still get
Michigan.
cold. Huh?
Still cold. It's still Michigan. It's still cold. Now I can't say anything. We had snow. We actually had snow here last Thursday night, and there's still a little bit of snow out in the bushes.
I guess I thought I didn't realize Virginia was far enough south that snow was rare.
We get snow every year, mostly, except when we don't. I did get my gas bill. Just got my new gas bill, and last year for February, we had 750 heating degree days for February. This year we had 500. So.
CK's mic isn't working.
Aw.
Feel free to chat in the live stream chat. That's the whole point of its existence, CK.
Yeah, the other thing we've seen is folks who are having trouble with their hit up the live stream chat. We'll follow you there. But we've also run into folks where people who have trouble getting their mics to work when they first join is drop, check the mic, and rejoin. And they can sometimes pick up. So Discord is a little flaky sometimes.
Yeah, Discord also, you have to set your mic source. It doesn't default to your computer source.
Exactly, yeah. You have to actually go into Discord.
Okay, I see part of it. I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, but I was watching another video about another guy doing these linear bearings.
Yeah.
And he had some interesting observations. One of them was that sometimes there's a little extra plastic on top of the right where basically the retainer clip sits.
Yeah, it's a bit of flashing in the injection molding.
Yeah.
Injected part.
Yeah, I think I have a little tiny bit here. I'm trying to very carefully cut off with the razor blade.
It's like a bunch of the parts that I'm seeing people make up and for Hamera mounts for other machines and whatnot. They put all these counter bores in on the flat side that's flat down on the bed when printed.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll put this counter bore in for an M3 or larger, depending on which side it's on, right? But they won't include a step file or anything like that when they make it, and they're not putting a membrane in. So your bridging doesn't necessarily work right because you're not bridging. You're just doing concentrics because you're doing a counter bore in a circle.
Right.
So, and without a step file or something, it's kind of hard to go in there and add a membrane.
Yeah.
From an STL. So a lot of times, if I end up just designing my because it's so much easier when you're doing a counter bore on a printed part to add a membrane that's 1 or 2 layers thick.
Yeah, and then you can just run the drill through real quick.
Yeah, you just come back and drill it out from the smaller side, and you've got a good counter bore seating surface for your screw, right?
There we go.
But if you don't, and you got that droopy, oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you, that's not
a lot of gaps.
focusing.
It's not really focusing.
Oh, the top one. Don't ignore the top one. I was trying to show you the bottom one.
Okay.
I tweaked the retainer clip a little bit so that it was straighter, and it's much nicer now.
Oh, it fits better? Good. Okay. That might be all you needed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's the thing.
CK did join the chat, by the way.
Oh, okay. We'll come back.
Uh, yeah, CK, if you haven't done it already, go into your Discord settings and look at your sources for your mic, and make sure it's selected.
CK is typing. You have to keep switching back and forth to the video on the live stream and the chat.
I'll inform you if he says anything that.
Okay.
I'm assuming a he. I don't know if it's a he.
Yeah, we can use the German they. I mean, that always, conjugate the verb or the pronoun.
Not a good internet day. A lot of drops, and I think I need to use headphones. Trying to see YouTube live stream. Gotcha.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, CK, I don't know how much you caught of what's going on, but basically I tore apart all of my bearings because I was having some issues, and I ended up finding a lot of metal shavings inside the bearings that weren't cleaned properly from the factory. So then it prompted me to tear apart the rest of my bearings, and now I'm putting them all back together again.
Good reference video is in the chat. If you go a little farther back up into the chat on the live stream, you're going to find a reference to a video by Alex Kenneth that talks about his experiences with the cheap linear bearings. That's part one. There's 2 more parts to the series. Some of them get into some pretty esoteric stuff. But it's he does a really good job of an informative video. If you can get past, especially if you can get past some of the rabbit hole discussions, I guess is probably a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I think he calls out timestamps in the video if you just want to jump ahead too.
Yep. He almost always calls out a timestamp in the description. So if you want to skip past the scientific engineering background of a particular task, you can go right to the meat of it. He does have some, like I said, very interesting videos in his series, including one that he calls the jankiest water-cooled hot end, which is pretty fun, actually, the way he does it. Ooh, somebody got a new set of screwdrivers.
They're actually nut drivers.
Oh, nut drivers. Are those the Weehaw ones?
Yeah, actually they are. Why, is that a thing that people have been talking about?
No, Weehaws are just good tools.
Ah.
When I have the option to buy Weehaws, I do.
Gotcha.
For the small tools. I mean, it's almost as bad as when I worked at NASA Langley at the hangar. Whenever the pusher came by every week, the dealer came by with his truck.
Mm-hmm.
and all the aircraft mechanics would race out to see their dealer. I mean, it was the Snap-on guy, but you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a $50 screwdriver. Yes, it is.
Yeah, these yeah, I got sick of trying to use a wrench. I wanted to use a driver instead.
No, WeHaws make good tools. They're high quality. Um, the For the most part, they're pretty much set up with the right length so that you're unlikely to over torque them. Unless you just like really gronk down on it. But you know, the length of your screwdriver or nut driver helps you to determine how much torque you're putting on it. So you'll get a feel for it. And the thing is, you can't really use torque measurements when you're working with nylock nuts. You going through and loosening them all up?
I'm taking the rail off the carbon fiber altogether.
Oh, that's right. You're waiting on your aluminum.
Yeah, it pains me to discard this thing, but
You're not going to discard it. What you're going to do is you're going to take it apart. When your aluminum gets there, you're going to put it up on for sale, and you're going to sell it. And you're going to offer it up for somebody who wants it on the for sale tab of the Discord.
yeah.
You're going to tell them exactly which version it is, and that it's already got the inserts installed. Heck, if you wanted to, you could just leave the bearing assemblies on it entirely, right? Figure your price point with the bearing assemblies installed, because you're essentially going to have to rebuild all the bearing assemblies on the other one, right?
Yeah, but
Because they're different lengths and whatnot.
yeah, but I don't know that I have enough without ordering more pulleys. I don't know that I have enough pulleys I'd have to go through and look. I guess
Okay.
it's possible I do.
I mean, before you take it apart, check and see if you've got enough pulleys, because
Oh, I know what I don't have enough of, though. I don't have any of these Darlin
parts.
pieces. Or Delrin pieces. Why do I always say Darlin?
You know what? Check and see how much those cost. It might be easier just to leave it assembled than you know what I mean? Because I'm sure somebody would be able to get one that's already put together.
Yeah.
Because you got to rebuild the other one entirely anyway. I think the Delrin assembly is just. I mean, Luke might have some. I got most of my rails from Amazon. Everybody else was having trouble getting stuff in from AliExpress and Banggood. They were having delays and whatnot.
Yeah, I got mine from AliExpress, but it took over a month to get them.
I had mine in 3 days from Amazon. So, and I paid maybe, I don't know, I paid like between $3 and $5 a rail more.
Really?
With Amazon Prime, yeah.
Rails I've seen on Amazon look cheaper.
Sometimes not. Just you have to poke around and make sure you're getting the right site. The other thing I did is I made sure that I bought all my rails from the same vendor. I didn't split up my rail order. So I had to poke around until I had a vendor that had all the sizes that I wanted. Let me check. Give me a second. I'll take a look. I'll find the vendor that I used. I have to check my order history. And who knows? I mean, the thing is, sometimes between one day or another, a vendor may no longer sell a particular asset item. Hey, it just arrived. There we go. That was delivered on Friday. Really good. I managed to get a copy of the exact constraint book. I'm finding it really interesting reading.
I'm going to spray this rail down really quick with some lubricant.
Okay. Give me a sec, I'm gonna find my rail vendors while you're doing that.
Yeah.
I still have 2 more Ender 5s and the Ender 5 Pros underneath my rip them together.
Have you ever considered you have an addiction?
You know, that's a thing. It might. That might be a thing. It might be a thing. Sold by Sing a Song. They're the Usong Shine MGN 12s. Give me a sec. I'll find a link for it. If I can get a link for it.
If I had piles of 3D printers laying around, I think my wife would be very unhappy with me.
Well,
I already have 3 as it is. Well, Jubilees will be the 3rd once it's finished.
I'm just not gonna even. I'm not gonna talk about it because it's just embarrassing.
You gave me a count once. I forgot what it was.
The number is large.
Hey, CK, did you pick a printer yet?
Oh, here we go. You said you had a budget, right? If you're building one from scratch or this is your first printer, the Jubilee is going to be a complex build.
Yeah, I don't think he's going for the Jubilee.
But the Ender 5 the Ender 3s and the Ender 5s come in at the Ender 5 comes in at about 300 something, and the Ender 5 Pro comes in at like 350 to 400. It's still a Cartesian design. It's not a Core XY, but it does have a fixed Cartesian travel at the top of the machine. It's in a cube form, and then the bed drops away. The Ender 5 Plus uses a double Z. The bed is supported on both sides, and it's got a bigger bed size. The Ender 3, of course, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of help out there for getting started in an Ender 3, and it's mostly assembled when you get it. You can have it up and running in 30 minutes. Sometimes, I can, if you're willing to take an Amazon return, I got my Ender 5 Pros for $150 each. So I've got 2 of them out there to rebuild for a print because I'm doing a print farm. And give me a second to double check. And I'm in the market for an Ender 5 Plus if you can get one for me. But this is the guy the guy I'm talking about works with Reality and handles all the Amazon returns. And so what he does is they check them out and he resells them. It's Lin Su. And so when Ray and I were talking about this, Ray pointed out that he had some available, and he was giving me a hard time for buying 2 of them because he turned around and bought 3.
You know what's sad? I have a printer in my closet that I originally bought for like $400. That's probably not as good as anything out there that you can buy
That's the
for
nature.
what?
Yeah, that's the nature of what we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
it's the community is pushing the technology forward, and the open source aspect of it is driving innovation, but it also is driving prices down because you get these Chinese companies who are able to take the open source energy and creativity that's out there and actually manufacture it. And as long as and these companies are learning what the open source is about, and Naomi is helping a lot with that, with the education aspect of it. And then you get One Bad Marine, Luke Hatfield, who's also helping with that.
If you're asking how much my printer would be, I don't. That would be hard to put a price on it. It has a Bondtech extruder and an E3D V6 hot end, which is worth more than the whole rest of the printer combined.
Oh, is it genuine Bondtech?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, genuine Bondtech and genuine E3D. That's what, $90 for the Bondtech and 50 or 60 for the E3D V6.
Yeah, I mean it's an older Bondtech, back when they were more expensive, but yeah, I mean what is worth now wouldn't be worth any more than the smaller ones, but yeah, it's really nice extrusion system on it.
And for $110 or $120, you can get an Amera. And
Yeah, I know, right? It's just
well,
funny.
it's again the nature of the business, and that's on the. I mean, how many Ameras do you have now?
4.
Yeah, I think I've got 4 in the house now. 3 in the house. Oh shoot, I lost track. I bought an extra one just for the CR10S5. So yeah, if I mean that was 150 shipped too. It didn't cost me any extra for shipping. For the Ender 5 Pro, and the Ender 5 Pro has got the silent board in it, so it's running 2209 stepper drivers. So that's the reason I spent the extra money on those, because if it's going into a print farm, I want them to run quiet. And this CR10 that I just built out for a friend of mine, I put the SKR 1.4 turbo board on with 2208 steppers running in UART mode. And the loudest thing on the machine is it's sitting here. I was running it at 80 millimeters a second on a CR10, which is a bed slinger. The bed moves front and back.
Mm-hmm.
The loudest, the most noise the machine was making is from the hot end fan. Oh yeah, you had asked me for a count of machines. Oh boy, do I really have to do this?
No.
Okay.
What's a guesstimate?
Let's see. I've got a Velleman K8200. That was the first one I built, and then I've got a Da Vinci Junior that I picked up on a Black Friday at a Barnes and Noble. And then they gave me a bunch of filament because I get an introductory class for them at the local store. The store gave me like 6 rolls of filament for just teaching the class.
Nice.
Or coming in a demonstration. It's all right. They sold 4 more printers that day, so I can't complain. And then I got a Form 1 Plus.
Oh, nice.
And then I got, on the Kickstarter. I backed the Kickstarter for that. And then I got a Da Vinci 1.0 from somebody local on Kickstarter or on Craigslist for $200. And then let's see what else then what did I do? Oh yeah, I did something really silly. I bought the Ender 5 and the CR10S5, which has got the 500 by 500 by 6 volume. And I was making helmets, Star Wars helmets for that, with that thing. And then I bought a CR10S on Craigslist for, I think I paid $175 for it. And then I bought an Ender 3 on Craigslist for $150, but it had to direct drive and a full set of rails on it. So it had been converted to rails, direct drive, and a micro-Swiss hot end. So, and now I've got 2 more Ender 5 Pros, and I'm building, and I got a Photon, one of the little Photons, resin printers, because I wanted to see how well it worked. And it does really nice job for miniatures, for D&D miniatures and stuff. And then what else did I do? Oh yeah, I got these 2 Ender 5s, and then I'm building a Jubilee, building a White Knight. I've got most of the parts for the White Knight as well, which is an Endless Z printer. Check it out by Knack 3D Designs. Carl's a pretty neat guy, and he's got an interesting design. If you want to be able to print long things, then that's one way to go. So yeah, he printed a Mandalorian sniper rifle effectively in 2 pieces, and then just glued it together.
Gotcha.
The thing's like 6 feet long. So yeah, I probably, yeah, I think I got a problem.
Yeah, it sounds like a legit addiction at this point.
Well, everyone I build, everyone I work on, I learn a bit more about it, and I also make a lot of stuff. So I do 3D prop design. I do prop design for and manufacture for escape rooms and theater and haunted houses.
Right.
So the print farm is making stuff that makes money. So there you go.
Yeah, if you're making money, then it's not an addiction. It's a business.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
Are you making a profit, or are you just making money?
I cover the cost of my filament. I've told my family that if they want to get me nice stuff, get me something, buy nice filament. Give me some shiny protopasta or something like that. HTPLA or try some of the more exotic stuff. One of the things I'm looking forward to with the Jubilee is being able to get a printhead in there that's got the soluble sport.
Yeah.
And I really like what Jack JAK has been doing. I think it's Jack. I don't remember his name. But his machine's got 3 Chimeras and a Bontac. And the Bontac, the only thing the Bontac runs is the soluble support material. So yeah, he's running 3 Chimeras and a Bontac. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Kevin Marr. So yeah, he printed the Hilbert cube, and it looks really nice. Do you see the pictures from earlier? It's in the custom 3D printer build.
I'm not sure. I haven't. I think I might have. Haven't. I was been busy today, so I haven't really read all the chats yet.
So he printed some stuff from. He printed what's called the Hilbert cube, It looks really nice. He's got the
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't know what that thing was that he printed. I
Yep.
asked and never got back to the chat to see what the answer was.
Yep. And he shows the color, the sides where the support material was, and with the soluble, you get a smooth finish on the support side. And then he had a demo piece. It's a PLA, and TPU. So he printed a hinge with TPU between two pieces of PLA. That's a demo piece. So it came out really nice. It's just two little squares of PLA, different colored PLA, with a piece of TPU in the middle as a hinge.
Really far behind in my Jubilee build.
That's all right. You'll get there.
I ordered everything as soon as the Jubilee 2.0 bomb was released. The prototype bomb.
Oh, as far as whether Lynn's got any Ender 3 Pros, I never bug him on the weekends, because I'm sure he probably gets thrashed with a lot of messages. He's also in China, so he's 14 hours. There's a 14-hour difference, although now would probably be a day there. And don't mind me, I'm a bit brain dead. I'm fever-ridden at the moment, so I have very little idea of what I'm actually saying. Which means I should just go back to sleep.
Yeah, I wanted to finish all these bearings tonight, but I think I'm going to have to finish the last bearing tomorrow, and then I can finally start putting things back together again.
Okay. Yeah, check your availability on these Delrin parts, because it might be easier just to build out a new set of bearings and throw that up on the for sale list and see if somebody wants to pick it up. Because it's got the carbon fiber on it, and it's already assembled.
Yeah.
Wrap it in bubble wrap, stick it in a box, send it off. Put do not bend on it and watch somebody bend it. We'll get it in this mailbox. I just have to push harder. So, yeah, hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday maybe Tuesday I'll have my duet and tool boards. I'll post pictures when I get it.
Are you waiting to start your build until you have your duet?
I'm waiting to start my build until I've got these other two printers off my workbench.
True.
And then once the other two printers are off the bench, I'll be able to finish getting myself organized. I've already got all the screws and stuff laid out in the box. And of course, remember I told you I bought all the wrong screws. I bought everything in black oxide.
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember that.
I think it'll be fine. I mean, they actually have a higher tensile strength than the stainless. And I'm not worried about rust. I'm really not. I've been using the black oxide for years. It's not like they're out, right?
My big box is all black ox. Like all the hardware on it is black oxide.
Yeah. And I've got, at least in the house and whatnot, I've got a dehumidifier and a humidifier. So I maintain the humidity in the house between, let's see, the humidifier kicks on at 35 and goes off at 45, and the dehumidifier kicks on at 50 and goes off, or kicks on at 50 and kicks off at 45.
I don't use a dehumidifier unless it's like super necessary. But
I live in Virginia. And I'm on the so 90/90 is a summer thing for us. And without the dehumidifier, it gets 70% inside the house without any. And that causes all kinds of havoc with the books and the hardwood floors. You get doors that won't close, stuff like that.
Wow.
Hey, look, they're rails.
Yes, there are. I already put the lubricant on them. I just used a.
Did you tag your wires? Did you put labels on them?
Somewhat, but I don't really need labels on the really short wires, so.
True.
Oh, this
Please
is gonna be.
no balls fall out. No balls fall out.
Yeah,
No balls fall out.
the ball fell out. Oh wow, what an idiot! I forgot to put the red retaining plate on it.
Oops. I think you're tired.
That's not an inaccurate statement.
I could not see that you didn't have the red on it.
You're tired too.
Mostly my eyes are closed. I am lying back in my big comfy Barco lounger with the heat and the massage running.
Do you know what would happen if I laid back in a comfy chair with the heat with my eyes closed? I would probably be out in about 3 seconds.
Did I not tell you I really have no idea what I'm supposed to talk?
No, but when I say out though, I would be snoring.
Yeah, no, I'm trying not to fall asleep. I need to
Why?
go get my.
Just
Did
what's
we
that?
lose some?
Hello? What'd you say?
Just was wondering if we lost somebody.
You mean CK?
Yeah. Yep. I've got the stream running, and I'm on my iPad, so I can't.
Well, CK hasn't been super interactive in the chat, but looks like he's typing something. Yeah. I am correct with my assumption that you're he, right?
There are robots involved. It could be any.
True. With today's day and age, it's
Could be. I mean, I thought there. We could have a bot. We would never know.
So what happens when you get a CAPTCHA that says I'm not a robot?
It's all right. I've known more than one person. I've known a couple of people who are just like over the top a little bit, and they use a robot to type in the CAPTCHA. And I don't know, some of the captures are just kind of silly, especially with the visual recognition stuff. Heck, most of the time I can't tell.
I really wish I had a retainer for these things. Stay in there. Oh, I know what I can do. I can cheat. I need to get a little piece of rail.
Take that piece of plastic rail on the one that you're returning.
Yeah, but I'm not confident that it's going to keep the balls where it's supposed to be. It is super loose.
It's super loose on the other one. How loose it is on that one?
Fair enough. You have a point.
Yeah, well, with everything at a point, there'd be no fit. I really don't know what that means. It's something my father-in-law used to say all the time. I have no idea if you're successful or not, because the sound does not match the video.
I got it in there.
Okay.
But yeah, it definitely got stiffer when I put the after I cleaned them. I think the grease is definitely thicker than the oil that they were using.
Okay. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, remember, you're trying to constrain 5 axes. So,
Right.
or, 3 axes of rotation and 2 axes of translation.
The balls still circulate, so that's the
There you
important
go.
thing.
And you sprayed the rails with the super lube?
No, I sprayed them with silicone spray that Alex recommended.
Oh, okay. No, I've got a super lube spray lube that's got the Teflon on it.
Whoa, that's
What's that?
interesting. When the bearing transitioned to this, it's much smoother on this rail.
So the rails themselves have got some variation.
Huh. Yeah, when I got over to this rail, it's like all of a sudden it's as smooth as the other ones. It's still
Well, there
solid
you
though. I
go.
can't wiggle it at all.
You can't wiggle it. No rotation. No rocking. No rotation.
Right. What's funny is the small bearing, because this isn't the one that I was having a problem with. This bearing actually glides just fine on this rail. This
Okay.
bearing, not that it had a problem, was still stiffer.
Well, good.
All right. Well, at that note, I think I'm going to call it a night. It is already a 12:15, so
Yep.
um,
Well, you have a good evening.
yep, you
All right.
too. And
Get some rest. We'll catch up later.
yep,
Hey, CK, thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you can get your mic fixed, and love to have you join on any other evening. It's more fun when there are more people on the chat because we end up going in all kinds of different directions as well as finding useful things about the builds.
I
And
agree.
if you're getting into the hobby, um, this is a good group to talk to because folks are willing to share and will give you whatever kind of advice that we can